So today we're having a look at the Gigrig G2, which is basically a switching device that can control the switching on and off of pedals, amp channels and things that can be controlled via MIDI. So I just want to give you a basic overview of how I use it, why I wanted one, what it can do, how it works, etc. I just wanted to kind of avoid the hour-long monumental videos that explain how this unit works from page 1 to 300 or whatever it is, because there are plenty of videos that do a very good job of that, but they weren't that helpful to me for units like this and similar products, because they're really complicated units. They can do an awful lot of stuff if you're trying to sift through a video to find how it's relevant to you, and you're not finding it because it's bogged down in pages and pages worth of MIDI functions, then it's not always that helpful. So I thought I'll do a video, simple overview, how I use it, probably how a lot of other people will use it as well. So I basically wanted to be able to change from one channel, for example the clean channel with reverb, delay, chorus, to a lead channel with just reverb and delay, get rid of the chorus, with an overdrive pedal as well. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's pretty hard to do when you're tap dancing on stage and you're halfway through playing a song. You just want to play guitar, but instead you're tap dancing. I'm not a tap dancer. So, for example, Tender Surrender by Steve Vai, a good example. Camera's in the way, tripod, so forgive some awkward foot angle. Something like that. You can do it with one button rather than doing the tap dance, and that's what I wanted, and it does it, as you've just seen. So I'll give you a quick rundown of how it works. So you've got banks 1 to 14, and bank 1 I've got it set up so that channel 1 of the Legacy comes on the clean channel, and effects loop 8 and 9 in that loop come on. 8 and 9 are my delay and chorus. So I click that and all that comes on. Click 2, the chorus disappears, channel 2 activates and the delay remains. Channel 3, channel 2 on the amp still, but the boost function on the Carvin is activated. The whammy pedal comes into effect and the Gemini overdrive, and the delay remains. And that's basically all I use it for. It sounds pretty simple. It is pretty simple. I've only got 3 channels. I'm thinking about adding a 4 and 5, a rhythm tone with some chorus, and also I was thinking about getting another distortion pedal for some like articulate thrash metal-y tones, kind of like the Marshall JVM distortion. I've got another video which demonstrates that, just so I can have the whole tonal spectrum that I like to use, some quick heavy rhythms, and then the smooth Vai-ish lead tone. So, but for now I've just got them 3 channels. I have got one of the bank used, number 14, and that's just my tuner. And just a tip on that front, if you just run one jack from number 14 to the input of your tuner and just leave the output of the tuner free, then obviously it still works, and because there's no output you don't need to switch your amp to standby or anything. You can just tune up and then click back to whatever preset with your amp still on, and it mutes itself, and then you're back into playing. Boom, easy peasy. So back to the main functions. You've got post gain and a pre-gain as well, which is really handy. They change a little bit over my presets, as you can see, but not too much, because I've got the effects loop used. I mean, you don't have to have the effects loop in, but because I've got it in, you kind of need the post gain and pre-gain because of this volume insert. It all sounds a bit technical, not very intuitive when you explain it and when you read it in the manual, but if you basically just follow what it says, it's got a nice little pictorial demonstration. As you can probably tell, I'm not that into spending hours plugging things and unplugging them again. So, and I've colour coded my cables so I know where they go. So I think it's the effects return from the amp goes into the output 1 of the Gigrig. The yellow one goes to, which is the volume insert send, goes to the input of the amp, and then the one underneath that, the volume insert return, comes from the FX loop send of the amp. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, so I just do what it says and it works. And you turn the post gain up, and obviously you turn the pre-gain and the post gain up and down, affects the sound as well as having your gain on the amp, so it gives you some more versatility, some more flexibility in how saturated you want your sound to be, so that's really handy. So just to run through my settings, channel 1 is my clean tone, as I mentioned. I like Eric Johnson's clean tone the most. It's great, it's well sexy. I don't sound like Eric Johnson, sadly, but I can try and get somewhere near. And he has a fair bit of chorus on his clean tones with some delay, and you know, I'm a big fan of that, it's great. So that's my Eric Johnson inspiration. Doesn't really sound much like him, but you know, it's alright. Channel 2, I've just got the second channel of the amp with some delay. It sounds like we've got an opportunity to use that tuner. Sounds a bit out of tune to me. Boom. Tweaked. And on channel 3 we've got the boost and the overdrive added, which I'll have to rattle through because, as you can see, the light is dying. You're seeing less of the G2 every minute that passes. Something else that's pretty cool about this setup in regards to the lead tone, partly because of the design of the Legacy and partly because of how the gain on the G2 interferes with the whole malarkey, is that if you put it on the lead tone and you have the volume on the guitar really low, you can have a really light crunch sound. But among that, when you're playing your nice gentle stuff, if you want to build it up, you can do all that stuff as well. It's great for like Sean Lane's Epilogue for Lisa or something like that. That, you know, the gentle melody bits, but then when you want to build it up a bit, you can do that with the gradual volume movement. So you hear a lot of, you know, really good players do it, like Andy Timmons and Steve Vai and Satriani. They've got that control over their dynamic range, but you do need some equipment to facilitate that, and this is an option. The Carvin is an option. The Gigrig too, if you manipulate that, probably with some other types of amps as well, would do it, so that's something to bear in mind. One thing about the effects loop I should mention is that it matters which way around you put your effects. Just like a normal effects loop that you'd have running around the back of your amp, this is the same. So that's why I've got my chorus and delay as numbers 8 and 9, because it does affect the tone. And there are some things you don't want in there, just like when you're setting up your amp normally. Just put your wah pedal at the front of your chain. Don't bother sticking that through the G2, in my opinion. Even though it's, you know, the G2 is like, it's got a true bypass matrix, or I think they're the words they used. It's a really clear signal path, but it still makes your effects sound different. So stick your wire in front of the G2, don't put it through the G2, and everything else I've got through it. But experiment, swap things around, see what works best for you. But that's pretty much it. It's a good job because, as you've seen over the last couple of minutes, the rechargeable batteries in my light have died. So thanks very much, see you next time.